Hi, I'm Mayor David Mayer. Gloucester Township has a rich history that dates back to our nation's pre-Revolutionary War past. It's full of well-preserved buildings, sites, and places of worship. Our history is something to be proud of, so let's take a closer look at some of Gloucester Township's historic sites.
I'm Sharon Mickle from the Gloucester Township Historical Society here at the Gabreil Daveis Tavern House. This pre-Revolutionary War tavern was built in 1756 and served as an inn for the boatmen who transported their products to Philadelphia via the nearby Big Timber Creek. Over the years, its various owners have used the building and property as a plantation, a meeting house, and a girls' school. Today, it sits tucked away behind private residences in the GLENDORA section of the township. Surrounded by Big Timber Creek and large wooded areas, it remains secluded from the influences of today's busy world. The property was willed to the township by William Shuck, the last private owner to live in the house. Shuck lived on the property from 1923 until his death in 1976. He was instrumental in keeping the tavern and the property it occupies well preserved so that future generations could learn and enjoy its history.
It's like a museum, but everything's up close. It's pretty cool.
Throughout the year, the Gabreil Daveis Tavern House is open to visitors. Go to our website for the most current schedule.
Here on Good Intent Road in Blenheim is the Chew-Powell House. It was built in the early 1700s. The settlers expected confrontation with the Lenape Indians, and this location had strategic significance to their plans. But since the Indians they encountered were peaceful, many of the settlers left the area, and it became known to historians as the lost town of Upton. The Chew-Powell-Wallens burial ground, adjacent to the house, is believed to be the oldest cemetery in the township. The cemetery not only contains the remains of early settlers, but also those of Revolutionary and Civil War soldiers, and Lenape Indians.
The homestead and cemetery were really well preserved. Seeing it firsthand was pretty amazing.
While Gloucester Township has its share of historical homes, our residents and their freedom to worship have a rich history as well.
Here at the head of Timber Creek is St. John's Church. While the original church was different than what stands today, the original parish was created out of the desire of local farmers, shopkeepers, and craftsmen to establish a place to worship God with their families. At a meeting held on November 14, 1789, St. John's Church was established under the denomination of the Protestant Episcopal Church of the United States of America. Monies collected to complete the original Red Cedar Church were raised by local war hero Aaron Chew. In addition to local residents, contributors included George Washington, James Madison, 3 signers of the Declaration of Independence, and other prominent society members of the day. The current St. John's Church building was designed by famous Philadelphia architect George Watson Hewitt in 1881. The St. John's Church site also includes the Churchyard Cemetery, which dates back to the late 18th century. It's listed on the National Historic Register, and recently the names of nearly 700 men, women, and children buried here were listed on an internet database for easy historic searches. The First Presbyterian Church of Blackwood is the oldest church in the Blackwood section. That first building stood until 1801. In 1847, additional land was purchased and a stone building was erected in 1848, which makes up part of the present church building. And right here on Davistown Road is the former Solomon Wesley United Methodist Church. While the building and grounds are quite interesting, its main historical significance is that it was used as part of the Underground Railroad, helping slaves as they strove for freedom.
I've lived here most of my life, and I must have passed by this church 1,000 times and never knew its history until now. It's something you really need to see.
Less of a historical site, but no less important to the history of our community, is the Big Timber Creek. It's a waterway that runs from Gloucester City to Egg Harbor Township. The tributaries, lakes, and waterways that make up the creek defined areas of industry and economic growth in the southern New Jersey region. It spans 25 miles throughout the area and was an invaluable asset to every community during the 18th century. Farming and trade were the primary occupations during the early American years, and the brewer's shipyard in Chew's Landing was the major hub of industry for Gloucester Township from 1794 to 1876. Today, Big Timber Creek isn't nearly as significant in terms of travel as it was during the Revolutionary period in America, but its history has shaped our community. As time and technology change the world, people can remain connected to the past through the preservation of Gloucester Township's rich history. We continue to grow and prosper because of our wonderful residents who remain committed to making our community a great place to live, work, and play. When visiting Gloucester Township's historical sites, you're likely to see signs featuring QR codes. Feel free to snap the codes with your smartphone to find out more about our rich history.